Snake? Snake? This week's character breakdown is Snake, the cloned son of Big Boss whose first appearance was in Metal Gear for the MSX2 computer platform. Snake isn't an exact clone of Big Boss, but rather his DNA was augmented to use his soldier genes. Snake is not only the weaker, but the younger of the twins, and Snake was actually the first third-party character to be playable in Super Smash Bros. What's up YouTube, I'm Choctopus, and this week we're breaking down Snake, a heavy returning for the first time since Brawl, who unfortunately got hit with a huge nerf in Ultimate. Snake relies on a variety of projectiles to dominate the stage and space his opponents, and when you're playing Snake, it's important to remember that less is more. Last week we covered Pac-Man, who has a lot of mix-ups and potentially long combos, but Snake is more tactical as he should be, so when playing him, you need to be patient. And remember, this is a weekly series, so be sure to place your vote in the comments section below for who you'd like to see next week. Alright, Otacon, we're ready. Snake's neutral attacks are pretty basic. You have this rapid jab, which will turn into a punch-punch-kick combo, dealing pretty good damage and having decent base knockback as well. It's also not a bad option for following up out of a Nair cancel. Oh, let's actually do the Nair cancel, and then you can do a neutral attack. It's not a true combo, but it's good for spacing your opponent. His dash attack, on the other hand, is great for punishing. If you know your opponent's going to land, you can hit them with a dash attack, so if I can read his landing, I can come in with another dash because there's going to be ending lag. Now, also keep in mind that a late hit won't have the same damage knockback as you do if you get a full hit. Next up, we're going to cover Snake's smash attacks. His forward smash is this RPG that fires at the ground. It's a strong attack that can kill as early as 30%. In fact, it's one of the strongest attacks in the game, but it is incredibly slow and has a lot of ending lag, so use it sparingly, because if you use it and you whiff it on the ground, it's an easy punish for your opponent. Snake's down smash is one of his faster attacks, and he'll kick on both sides, but unlike, let's say, Ganondorf's down smash, where he'll hit you in the front and bring you to the back, Snake will only hit you on one side. So if he hits you in the front, he's not bringing you to the back. As for the attack itself, it's not particularly strong, but it does have good horizontal knockback and almost no vertical knockback. So if you're in a matchup where your opponent has a poor horizontal recovery, and maybe Rob isn't the best example of this, you can use a down smash to get him off stage, and then you can begin to ledge guard. Up smash is Snake's best smash attack because it's excellent for ledge guarding. It has a fixed trajectory, and charging the attack will only increase the height and the distance of the shell from the mortar, not the actual damage. And you can use it in quick succession without Snake having to finish the animation. If you hit with the actual mortar on stage, it will pull your opponent overhead, and it will even hit from the back. But where the mortar really shines is when your opponent's off the stage. Use it to ledge guard, especially when you pair it with other tools like C4s and grenades. But overall, Snake smash attacks should be used pretty conservatively, especially on the stage, because they do have noticeable ending lag and can easily be punished. But like I said, up smash is probably one of the best ledge guarding tools that he has. Next up, we're going to talk about special moves, starting with Snake's grenade, which are one of, if not his best tool. Now, grenades have a 2.5 second detonate time from when you pull the pin to when it actually explodes. And before we get into what you can actually do with grenades, I want to talk about grenade cooking. Grenade cooking is when you pull the pin, you hold your grenade longer. This way, when you throw it, it detonates on impact as opposed to sitting on the ground. Because if you pull the pin and throw a grenade, your opponent can pick it up and throw it right back, which could be a problem. If you have a grenade out, Snake can throw it 3 distances. Letting go of B, he'll lob it. Holding back, he'll throw it right in front of him, and then if you hold forward, he'll throw it a lot faster and further. However, if you take a grenade out and you either shield or roll, Snake will drop the grenade in place, and this is where it gets interesting and you can do some really fun things with it. Now, you can only have 2 grenades out at once, you can't have more than that. And once you drop it, you can use it for things like ledge guarding, so if your opponent is recovering, you can shoot up a mortar, or you could shoot up a shell from the mortar, and then you can drop a grenade to ledge guard. This way, if they decide they want to dodge that, they might get caught with the explosion from the grenade. Now, as far as throwing it goes, once you drop it, you can throw it a lot faster and further, as opposed to if you just throw it from, let's call it his grenade throwing position, or his grenade holding position. So you can start to do things like cooking it, and then throwing it a lot faster before it explodes to hit your opponent. When you drop it, you can also throw it down and up, which can be effective for ledge guarding, because you could throw it down and try and hit a stage spike. You could throw it off the ground if you're playing on Battlefield, and you can bounce it upward. Now, in order to do that, when you have the grenade in hand, you're going to do a really late down throw. That wasn't it. You're going to do a really late down throw. Come on, we can do this. Because then, there you go. Then it'll bounce up above you, so you can hit someone overhead on the top platform. In addition to using your grenades as a good offensive tool for spacing your opponents, they're also really good defensively. So let's make Rob do a side smash. Now, if I know I'm going to take a hit, I can take out a grenade really quick because the explosion will actually hit my opponent as well. Approaching your opponent with a grenade in hand is also a really good way to bait shield, because when you do a grab, you can actually dodge the explosion with the invincibility frames from the grab or the throw. So if you go up to your opponent and you pull out a grenade, or you have a grenade out, and you know they're going to shield, you can go for the grab and then do the down throw or whatever throw, because, like I said, the invincibility is going to make Snake dodge the explosion, and they will still take damage. The next technique I want to cover is B reversing. When you take out a grenade, you're unable to turn around until Snake lets go of the grenade. Now, obviously, if you drop and then pick it back up, you can do whatever you want with it because it just becomes a regular item. But this is a problem if someone's on the opposite side of me, because then I have to turn around, take a grenade out, and then I can either drop it or I can just hold it or do whatever I want. Now, if you B reverse, which is hitting the control stick right after you hit B, that wasn't it. Hitting the control stick right after you hit B, there we go. I can turn and take out a grenade at the same time as opposed to having to do multiple actions. Now, Snake can also do this in the air, which is really cool. However, it's going to take some practice because the timing is a little bit weird because you have to hit B and then you immediately hit left or right to turn. And the last thing I want to cover about grenades is knowing how to follow up on grenade explosions, which I think is super important. So if you drop a grenade on the right side of your opponent, it's going to knock them left, whereas if you drop it on the left side, it's going to knock them right. The reason why I say that is because if you know that you have a grenade about to explode on the right side of your opponent, you can follow up with a nair. Whoop, that was a little early. But you can follow up with a nair or some other attack because there's multiple things that you can do, whereas if you know that you dropped a grenade in front of them, you can hop over and then you can follow up with a back air or something else. Next, we have Snake's C4, which is his down B, which is another really good tool because it's a remote bomb. So you can place it, and then you can press down B again to explode when you want. The attack will also act like a gooey bomb, so you can actually place it on your opponent, but if you do cross over with them, it will get transferred to Snake. Unfortunately, the C4 doesn't have an infinite time limit, so it will explode after, I think, like 25 seconds. I'm not sure of the exact time, but it's around that. So you want to be aware of where the C4 is on the stage because you don't want to run over it as it explodes on its own, especially if you're high damage, because you'll end up KOing yourself. So now let's talk about some of the uses for Snake's C4. It's a good ledge guarding tool, so you could place it right at the end of the stage, and that in combination with Snake's grenades, you can cover a lot of ground if your opponent rolls back on. Now you can also place it on the side of a stage, but it's a little more difficult to do because it requires a very accurate timing. So when Snake's in the air and he uses his C4, it's going to take a second for him to actually take it out and drop it. So if you're on the edge of the stage, you're going to hit back and then forward really quick, then you're going to hit jump and then down B to place it on the edge of the stage. So it's still a little bit visible there, but it is stuck to the side, so if your opponent is trying to recover, you can blow up a little more efficiently than if it were on top of the stage, because you can get them as they're going for the ledge. Snake C4 is also really good for zoning. If I place a C4 over here, I can actively keep my opponent from that section of the stage because they're going to avoid it, because if they get close to it, I can just blow it up, and especially if they're a high percentage, I can pick up a pretty early kill with it because the C4 is strong. Now, if I get them with a grab down throw, I can almost read what they're going to do because they're not going to roll towards the C4. I can get them on the roll away from the C4, or I can get them, you know, as they are if they decide to do nothing and just hit them with the up tilt. You can also place C4s on your opponents while they're shielding. So if you take out a grenade and force a shield, you can drop it, place a C4, and roll away all before the grenade goes off. So now Rob has a C4 on him. So if his damage is high enough, let's bring him up to, I don't know, like 80%. That should kill. And then you make the C4 go off. Well, maybe not that early, but if the C4 goes off while it's on your opponent, you can pick up a kill very easily because all you have to do is set it off. We're on Final Destination right now, but if you're playing on Battlefield or somewhere with a platform, the C4 has a very good blast radius around the entire bomb, even the bottom. So if you place something on top of one of the ledges, you can even keep them from going under the ledge, because if you blow up the bomb, they're still going to get hit by it. Speaking of recovering, if you know you're not going to make a recovery, you can use his C4 to blow yourself up to get that extra jump. And it's pretty easy to do because it falls about the same speed as Snake does. So all you do is have to hit down B twice, blow yourself up, you get the extra jump, and it resets his up B. Next, we have Snake's side B, which is his Nikita, which you can actually fly around for a really long time before it drops. It's one of Snake's best ledge guarding tools because you can just sit here and you can control the entire area around the ledge. So if your opponent's going up, you can get them up high. If your opponent's going low, you can get them down here. It's really good. Be careful when using the move on the stage because it does have a lot of startup and ending lag. However, if you do use it, you can shield or you can roll, and the missile will just drop straight out of the air. So if you're playing on the stage and you get one out, you know, you can send it way up high, you could shield, your opponent might forget about it, and then you can come in for the attack. Last up, we have Snake's up B, which is his Cypher. It's a decent recovery, but it's a little difficult to control, and also, if you use air dodge or if you use an aerial attack while using the Cypher, he's going to cancel and use it early, so do be careful you don't gimp your own recovery. Now, for this reason, Snake's not the best character to use off the stage because if you get too low, you're not going to make it. However, like we spoke about earlier, you can use C4 to reset the Cypher, but he's extremely vulnerable while you're doing it. The Cypher also will give Snake a little bit of super armor as soon as he takes it out, which could save him from potential spikes. When playing Snake, instead of recovering straight to the ledge, I like to recover higher with him, because if an opponent's under me, I can drop a C4, or I can air dodge, or I can even take out a grenade to try and counter any up airs or air attacks they might be trying to punish me with. Next, we're going to talk about Snake's tilts, and Snake's tilt game is very good, so you're going to want to use them a lot. Starting with his up tilt, which is one of his best kill options because it kills lightweights really low, and it's a good follow-up from a down throw if your opponent doesn't tech out of it. What I really want to know is, where did Snake get that flexibility? Ooh, girl, look at those splits! Also, if you're playing on Battlefield, because his up tilt has really high reach, you can actually hit your opponents on the platforms above you. Next up, we have the forward tilt, which is a 2-hit combo, so hitting his forward tilt will actually make Snake throw out a knee, and if you hit A again, he'll follow up with this overhead strike. It is really good for KOing at higher percentages, and I love it to space my opponent as well, so if someone's being too aggressive, you can use his forward tilt to create a little bit of space. Last, we have Snake's down tilt, which is the sweeping kick, which does really good damage for the time that it takes to come out. It also works well out of his crouch. And speaking of Snake's crouch, I wanted to take a second to talk about it because he's so low to the ground that it's good for dodging projectiles that come out straight. So if we just hang out here, Rob, unless he angles his laser downward, won't be able to hit us, and it's a pretty low projectile as it is. Next, we're going to talk about Snake's air game, and overall, Snake doesn't play well off the stage, so he's not the character you're going to want to chase off with attacks. I mean, he has enough tools where you can ledge guard safely from on the stage, but we're going to start with his neutral air, which is the best of the bunch, personally. His neutral air is this multi-attack kick. You know, you can do it from a short hop. It's really good, and you can use it to approach your opponent if you don't want to zone them with grenades anymore, if you feel like you want to get in there. It's a really good attack for approaching. Also, it's not bad for coming off the stage and trying to catch them with the kicks to KO them, similar to Ganondorf's neutral air. Snake's Nair won't actually knock back unless the fourth kick connects, so if you want to use it on the ground, it's not a true combo, but you can do a short hop into a Nair, fast fall to cancel it, and then you can follow up with a grab to down throw if you think your opponent's going to shield, and go right into an up tilt. The same goes for Snake's down air, which is actually a really good option for racking up damage, and it works well out of shield. Next up, we have Snake's forward air, which is this really powerful axe kick, which also might be one of the most disrespectful spikes in the game if you can catch your opponent with the heel. However, it does have really long startup, it has a lot of ending lag, so it is an attack you're definitely going to use very sparingly, and don't use it unless you're sure you can hit with it, because if you end up too low under the stage, you're not going to be able to recover, and you're going to die going for a forward air. But like I said, if you can land this thing, it's absolutely filthy. Next up, we have Snake's back air, which is this drop kick, and it does have a really long-lasting hitbox. It has a sweet spot, so if you can hit with it, it will have good horizontal knockback, but it's his only air attack that you can't cancel out of. So Snake is basically going to lay on the ground for a second before he gets up, making him extremely vulnerable. The attack itself is strong and it's not a bad KO option, but just be careful when using it. Next up, we have Snake's up air, which is this double overhead kick. It's not a bad option for picking up an overhead kill, as it's pretty strong if you can get a clean hit. But like the rest of his attacks, it does have a lot of ending lag. Last, we're going to talk about Snake's grabs and his throws. You have his down throw, which is probably the best because you can put your opponent to sleep and then force them to make a decision to either tech left or right or do nothing, in which you can follow up with an up tilt for a kill at high percentages. Next, you have his up throw, which at 0% will true combo into an up tilt, which will get you an easy 30% damage. It's basically free. Then you have his forward throw, and you have his back throw, which are good for spacing your opponents. I don't really use Snake's forward or back throws because, honestly, his up throw, like I said, is just free damage at 0%. But everything after that, it's all about the pummel down throw because you can either tech chase your opponent or you can kill them at high percents just with an up tilt. That's it for Snake's breakdown. Just to recap, he has a great kit on stage between his grenades, C4, tilts, and throws. Off stage, not so much, but for ledge guarding, really make use of his Nikita, his up smash, and his grenades to cover the area around a ledge. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It does help a lot. If you're a new viewer, we do weekly character breakdowns and loads of other Nintendo and Smash content, so if that interests you, feel free to subscribe and ring the bell for more. Again, this is a weekly series, so if there's a character you want to see me cover, let me know who it is in the comments section below, and the most requested fighter will be covered for the following week. I also have a playlist on my channel with 15 other characters that we've covered so far, so be sure to go check those out as well. Now go, pick up some W's with Snake. Feel free to check me out on socials and Twitch. There's links in the description if you want to give me a follow elsewhere. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you later.